What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggie from Shook Earth Media, and today we are talking about production assistants. Now, I was a production assistant for many major Hollywood productions, a lot of streaming services. I had a variety of jobs and worked on a bunch of film and television, and it's something I still do occasionally, but I've had a decent amount of experience with it, and a lot of people don't even know what a production assistant does. So I thought it'd be fun to discuss. Now, the production assistants are in the production department, and this includes producers, directors, the assistant directors, and basically we are there to assist the producers in whatever function that they need. And that basically entails getting to set first and being the last to leave. There are a lot of various tasks that get divvied up, and there's a lot of responsibilities that a production assistant has. But in general, your job is to be as useful as you can, and your job is to basically anticipate what people are going to need in a lot of ways. So we'll just start with the basics, though. The first time you get a production assistant job, you're probably going to be what's called an additional production assistant, and you will be when we are on location. This is as opposed to being on a soundstage or a studio. We are out and about in the public. We are on roads. We are in parks. We are in areas that are generally considered public, or that are like businesses or homes or something like that. So what the production assistant does in this case, an additional production assistant, their main job is what is called a lockup. Now, a lockup basically means that you have a radio, you are like the eyes and ears of the production, and basically when a scene is being shot, you are informed via the radio. You call action, you call cut, and your job is to make sure that no pedestrians or vehicles enter the area where filming is happening. And this is done for many reasons. Now, you might think, oh, you want to have pedestrians in the background, right? Yes, that is true. But when you have pedestrians in the background, you want to use professional background actors that do that for a living, and you want them there all day because you're going to be doing a lot of different takes from different angles, and you don't want it to change continuity, is what it's called, between shots. And you don't want it to be like, oh, it's a person with this height and this shirt on, and then all of a sudden you cut to a different angle, and in the same spot there's somebody that looks completely different. So you want it to stay consistent, so you have to pay these background actors for the full day so that you can use the same people over and over again, and you can have them wearing the clothes that you want them to wear and stuff like that. So you don't want to have random pedestrians in the background. And a lot of times these people would be staring at the camera, they'll be talking to actors, they'll be asking questions. People are curious in general. They want to know what's going on in their neighborhood or wherever they happen to be. So you don't want to have any random people just walking through. So your job is, when we're rolling, people are approaching, and you have to just flag them down and say, "Hi, sir, ma'am. We're working on a film right now, and we're shooting something. Would you mind waiting a few minutes until we call cut, and then you can pass through?" And basically your job is to keep them talking for however long is necessary. That was my go-to, was to just make conversation, explain what the movie is, explain the scene we're shooting, explain where we're shooting, just basically answer their questions, keep them talking. A lot of times you will get angry people. A lot of people on a commute to work. This is a job where you're going to get harassed a lot. You're going to get screamed at. I'm the kind of person that usually finds that amusing when people are yelling at me. So it was a good job for me. You know, there was my first day on the job that I ever was a production assistant. We were stopping cars, because you have to stop cars as well, because that's a safety issue to have cars coming into the filming location, especially if you're shooting with cars on the street. You have, you know, background vehicles and stuff like that. It becomes very unsafe. So we were stopping cars, and this was early in the morning, and people were trying to drop their kids off at school, and I had to ask them to please wait a few minutes. And I got a lot of middle fingers. I got a lot of, fuck you, you piece of shit, blah, 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 blah. And that's fine. You know, just keep yelling at me. Just don't drive through me. Don't hit me. We're all good. You know, they keep screaming at me. And it worked out fine, because the longer that I keep them talking, that it's time that they're not driving through into the area and making a danger for other people. So, you know, I have a lot of funny stories about, you know, people showing me their guns they have in their waist, and that's like, cool, you know, cool, you can have a gun, I don't have an issue with that. Second Amendment, all good, you know, you gotta defend yourself, that's okay, but do you mind just waiting a few minutes? You know, there's a lot of funny stories I have in relation to that. I mean, just dealing with the public and people in general, it's always an interesting time. So it's a job, you can't be shy. That's very much part of it. So that's a big part of it, is locking up. That's what you're doing while we're filming most of the time. But, you know, a lot of times between various locations, you know, that same day, that first day on the job, I went from locking up in one location to, okay, now I'm hopping in a vehicle and I'm helping the locations department move cones. We had cones on the street so that people wouldn't park, and now we need to move them because those cones, you know, we don't have the permits for later in the day, so we got to put the cones away, and then we got to go to the next location. So that's a big part of it, and there are all kinds of things that can happen. You're basically there at the assistant director's beck and call, so you might have to, okay, we need to get batteries from the store. Here's the company credit card. Run to the store, bring us the receipts, and bring this. That's a big part of a lot of production assistants' job, is going on various trips. Hey, we need to take something to FedEx. Hey, we need to, you know, all these different things. You might need to drive somebody to set or drive somebody to a different location. You're constantly plugged in on the radio, and at random times of the day, there are all types of tasks that might be needed. There was a day where there's a train tracks going through where we're filming. Now, nobody's on the train tracks. That's very much against the safety rules. But there was somebody, just for safety reasons, and also just so we know when there's going to be noise and we can't shoot, there was somebody whose job all day was to just sit, or all night rather, as a night shoot, was to sit at this vantage point when they could see when a train was coming and just radio when the train was coming. So that's the kind of things that happen on location. And I mean, one day we were filming at a courthouse, and my job for half of the day was to stand in the courtyard and just point people where to go. Hey, you going through this door, go up the stairs, and that's where you need to be. Or whatever it was, you know. So there's any manner of things that can happen, and that's a big part of the job. Now that's when you're on location, but things can change depending on whether you're on stage or on a location. For example, when I became, you know, full-time production assistant, basically I would get to set every day, and I would go straight to the craft services truck, or rather the catering truck. And there would be breakfast there for me, and coffee and all that. And then I would immediately start fulfilling breakfast orders. There would be all types of orders that people would want to get eggs, they want to get pancakes, so I'm there collecting people's orders, passing them out to everybody, and that was part of my morning. And then we would go into lockups or something like that. Now that's just the basic life of a production assistant. You're somebody that has to know what's going on, so people will ask you a lot of questions. Because they see you with the radio, they just assume that you know, and you should know. You should know where do we go to set? Where are the bathrooms? Where's the craft services table, the crafty table? Where can I get snacks? Where can I get coffee? You have to know all these things and keep it in your mind. And also, a lot of people will ask you for batteries for the radios. So you have to have extra batteries, hot bricks they call it. When it's fully charged, it's a hot brick. When it's dead, it's a cold brick. So you take people's cold bricks, you give them a hot brick, and that's one of your jobs as well. So that's what I mean when I say that you have to anticipate what people are going to need from you in advance. So you have to have, maybe you have maps of the location, where things are. You have to keep in mind, what direction, north, south, what street is called what. Going back to lockups, if somebody were to blow your lockup, meaning walk right past you or act aggressive, or if a car just drives right past you, obviously they never want you to put yourself in danger. So you get out of the way, but you immediately radio, we have a bogey. They call it a bogey. So if a car blows past your lockup and drives onto the set, that's very dangerous. So you have to say, there's a bogey going south on this street, and everybody needs to get out of the way and stuff like that. And then you have to do what you can to let people know and hopefully put a stop to everything before somebody gets hurt. So that's what you do. If it's a pedestrian, you say there's a bogey pedestrian going this direction. They were acting aggressive. Do not engage and stuff like that. If you feel that this person is dangerous. The first day I was on set, there are police officers on most location shoots that you're on. If it's a big production, especially. So the first day I worked again. A lot of stuff happened that first day I was working. I didn't see this happen, but a police officer got punched in the face by a pedestrian. He was just an off-duty cop. They take extra hours just to make a little extra money. They work on these movie sets, and they work security. It's just a basic security job. They're usually it's not eventful for them, so it's usually a nice shift compared to what they're probably used to. But in this case, a guy just walked up to him and just punched him in the face when he asked him to stop, and that person got arrested. And yeah, so it's dealing with the public, a lot of things can happen. So I never had anything like that done to me, so that's good. But anyways, there's all types of different tasks that PAs can be given. There's always what's called a walkie PA, and this PA is in charge of keeping track of the walkie-talkies, and they have a sign-out sheet, and there's like this number, each walkie has a number on it, and this walkie is with this person, and they have to keep track of each and every piece of equipment. And I've been on many sets where that was not handled in an organized manner, and it became a real issue. People would be taking their walkies home with them, and I mean, for a lot of the time, you do take your walkie home with you and then bring it back the next day. But there has to be a record of who has what walkie and who's responsible for it, because it's a very expensive piece of equipment, and it's important because, like I said, you have to be the eyes and ears. You have to know what's going on as a PA. So a lot of times, a lot of your job is just communicating what's happening. A lot of times, like you might be told to wait by some trucks. There's always trucks for each department. There's like a grip truck, which has like lighting equipment, and there's electric trucks, there's special effects trucks, all this equipment, and they kind of just wait in these trucks when they're not being used. And you might be told to wait near the truck, and then you communicate when people are moving in and out. So, okay, we have grip people coming back to the truck, and they're loading up a cart, and they're going back to set. You might need to say, okay, we got the special effects guys going back to set. So that's a job that people have. Another job you might have is what's called first team PA. Now, first team refers to your principal actors. Or if you're on second unit, your first team is usually stunt performers. There's a lot of stunts that are done on second unit, which second unit is a unit that's filming at the same time as first unit, the main unit, but they do things that don't need the principal actors so that it can be done at the same time. So in a lot of cases, that'll be stunt work. So because stunt work, obviously, you don't use the principal actors for. So you might shoot stunt work at the same time the main cast is shooting other stuff. So that's why you have multiple units sometimes. Not every production has multiple units. Like Christopher Nolan famously refuses to use second units, and everything's one unit. So that's just a fact of it. But so, anyways, going back to first team means the principal act performers. So a first team PA is just in charge of keeping track of all the actors, where they are, what they're doing, and you're communicating to the assistant directors if they're like getting wardrobe. You're communicating to them what stage of the process they are in. Okay, we just got all the wardrobe ready. They're now headed to set. You're letting everybody who needs to know where they are at any given time. So, and you're also keeping track of, if they need a snack, if they need water, you're just making sure they have what they need, and in general, just catering to their needs. So that's what a first team PA does. Now, they call it first team because there's also a second team, and second team are the stand-ins, and the stand-ins basically are the same height, same like skin tone, and have some similar costumes, and these people are there for lighting purposes, so that the main actors are not used while lighting crew is setting up. So the lighting crew will use the stand-ins to show, okay, we need this much light on people's face. That's why I use similar skin tones as well, because, depending on somebody's skin tone, you might need more or less light. And that's just, basic fact about, color and stuff like that. So you want to have people similar height so that the camera is positioned in the right spot. So that this is to minimize setup time for when the principal actors are there, so that it's more efficient that way. The actor can be getting wardrobe done, can be getting makeup touched up if they need prosthetics or anything like that. You have these stand-ins at the beck and call of the camera crew and the lighting crew, so that you can be the most efficient. So there's second team as well, and first team. So you could be a first team PA that is in charge of monitoring the first team. I've never seen like a second team PA, but they're usually just, listening for the call, because as I said, when you're filming, a lot of times the PA will be screaming out, rolling, cut, and a lot of times you'll say when you're finished with one shot and moving on to the next one, you will often say check the gate. And that's an old school filming term that comes from checking a gate for shredded like film. Back in the day, you'd have to check it to make sure that the film didn't get shredded. But I don't need to explain that in too big a detail. But when you say check the gate, the second team will hear that, and the first team flies out, and second team comes in, and that's when the setup is happening. So new camera shot, new lighting arrangement, and the second team flies in at that point to take the place of the actors, so the actors can get a break, or they can rehearse with the director, or whatever it needs to be. So that's a basic rundown of what a production assistant does. I kind of rambled a lot, and there's a lot more to it as well. But in general, it's just being aware of what's happening, knowing what the producers need, and just basically fulfilling a bunch of tasks for them. There's a lot of random stuff that comes up, but that's the basic bulk of it, guys. And I feel this video is already long enough. So, if you guys have any questions about PA life, I would love to share more about it. I'll probably make more videos in the future. I just thought this might be a fun video to describe the life of a production assistant. So, if you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Hit me up with that like button. We're gonna start doing more behind the scenes kind of film videos, because I've lived that life. I'm still doing film stuff. I'm editing professionally and doing production assistant work every now and again, and film or camera work and stuff like that. So, I have a lot of experience in this area, and I think we'll do like some film school videos, some basic cinematography concepts and stuff like that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and hit me with that like button if you like it, and subscribe for more videos, and comment any questions or concerns or anything that you have. I would love to hear from you. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next video, and everybody have a good one. Peace out.